How's it going, y'all? I never say y'all. I don't know why I just said that. There are a lot of very, very poor lenders out there. And I say that not to be arrogant of my own abilities, because I'm young and there's a lot of things that I think I can learn. But I'm also coming from a point that I've always been the type of person who, if I don't know something, I want to look it up and find it out right away. I want to do my own research. I don't want to just trust, the first person I hear from's opinion. I listen to their opinion. I take it into consideration. And then I also do more research to see, what other people think, because there's a lot of people who like to take advantage of people. And in the ag lending world, there are a lot of lenders who, maybe they've become comfortable with this thing called, especially with row crop, like crop insurance. Crop insurance, we're going to make at least minimum this much. We're going to get this government assistance, okay? And then you have all this land for collateral. So, why not give you the money? And then you go figure it out. Where I think an ag lender should be, and I think you should expect of your ag lender, is that they are helping you with actually breaking down your operations numbers. And maybe you're somebody who really wants to do this themselves. They don't want their ag loan officer to be involved in this. And I respect that. But I think that if you're paying them as much as you are, then you should expect them to help you do some of that, because you need to be spending your time running your operation. You need to be busy making those decisions based on the data that you're getting from your loan officer. You don't need to be collecting all that data yourself. You shouldn't expect yourself to be able to do all that. And maybe you can. Maybe you have, a brother or, a son or daughter who's very good help. Maybe even a spouse who's very good help. And they can help, calculate some of this stuff for you. But I don't think that everybody's taking full advantage of the services that should be provided from an ag loan officer. They should be able to help you not only put together a balance sheet to decide if they're going to borrow you the money, but also help you see where your operation sits. A balance sheet is a snapshot of where your operation sits, assets to liabilities. But not only this is something that a lot of them, especially those poor collateral-based lenders, probably aren't going to like. They should be able to help you calculate your cash flows, especially your monthly cash flows, your yearly cash flows. And if you do this, you're going to see some substantial improvement in your operation, because you're seeing where every single dollar goes. And we've seen it in personal finance things all the time. Dave Ramsey is popular with, no debt. And some of you might say, why are you talking about Dave Ramsey if you're an ag loan officer? Well, Dave Ramsey is very smart. And I do think there are operations in the ag space that can run strictly off cash. I'm not saying that, it's coherently bad, that debt's coherently bad. I think that it is doable with debt, and I think that you can scale with debt. But the problem is that a lot of people are just going to the bank, asking for money. They get the money, they go through the whole year, and then they ask their lender, did I make money? Or they ask their accountant, worse off, did I make money? And the truth is if you're not working with that ag lender as a teammate, you're probably not going to know if you actually made money or not, because your accountant is going to see certain portions of your finances, and your ag lender is seeing current portions. And if they're not doing those cash flows with you, they probably truly don't know if you're making money. They'll see if you pay off your line of credit or not. They'll see if you're making your payments or not. But as far as where that money's coming from, is it coming from specifically your operation? Is it coming from your cattle part of your operation, your row crop part of your operation? They might not care if they're just a collateral-based lender. To get back to my real point here is you need to be expecting them to do those cash flows for you. You need to be expecting them to put it all on Excel and explain this to you. Whenever you hear somebody in finance world, any kind of finance world, I say as a broker, as a stockbroker, as an accountant, or anybody, if they start using big words and you don't understand them, you say, whoa. What does that mean? Like, put it in kindergarten language here. And that's not to make fun of you. That's because from personal experience, if they can't put it in kindergarten language, then they don't understand it themselves. And that's one thing that I've always done. I work in this space, But I still don't like to use, fancy dumb words that nobody actually truly uses in the real world. People start spitting off all this language. I'm like, whoa. Why don't you just say this? Because this is what everybody is really thinking. Don't make yourself sound smarter than you really are. Like, let's just use the language that, is relatable for everybody. And it has nothing, just because you use big words does not mean you're smarter, okay? And I think a lot of you who watch these videos will appreciate that. You're paying these people so much. And what do I mean by that? You might not think, I don't pay my loan officer or anything, Well, you're paying interest on the line of credit. And even if you don't borrow a lot of money, your money's sitting in the bank. You're losing out on inflation. Maybe you're making some interest, but it's probably not keeping up with inflation unless it's in a high-paying savings or high-paying CD. And most of the time, operations are borrowing money, at least to some extent. So you're paying them a good amount of money, especially if, let's say you have $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million line of credit. You're paying a lot of interest every single year. You should expect them to help you with your cash flows. You should expect them to be able to explain things to you. You should expect them to be able to help you know if you are truly making money or not with your operation. And the same is true with a commodity broker, with your accountant, with anything else, any LRP salesman, crop insurance salesman. They should be able to explain to you what they're doing. And if they're not, I really suggest you ask around, find somebody else. And just because they're a good person doesn't mean they're actually helping you. Just because they're your neighbor and they sell LRP doesn't mean they're the best person for your operation. You're building this operation for your family's legacy so you can pass it on to the next generation, your kids' kids. And if they're not helping you with that, then they're preventing you from doing that exact thing that you want to do. Check out the AgriSummit community. One of the values with that, if you have cattle and you join the community, you have a whole discussion forum with other ranchers, other cattle feeders who you can talk to about these things also. Not only me, because I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. That's one of the reasons I built the community, because I wanted a community of cattle people who could come together and ask each other questions. People who had family operations that were serious about keeping their family legacy alive. That's why I built the community. So if you're serious about that, you want to be a part of a community like that, check out the link in the description. And we're trying to grow this channel. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Maybe by the time I post this video, we'll be already there. But it's because of you guys, and I appreciate that. The more subscribes, likes, comments I get on these videos, the more time and effort I can put into it. The more AgriSummit community members we get, the more time and effort I can put into these videos. And I really appreciate that. And if this is interest to you, like the video, subscribe, share with 10 friends. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, God bless.